Good morning. म दीर्घ भट्टराई पेसाले शिक्षक। म आज कक्षा 10 को सामाजिक अध्ययन विषयको पाठ 7 को उपशीर्षक 2007 सालको क्रान्तिको बारेमा सानो PDF म प्रस्तुत गर्न गइरहेको छु। This is my short introduction about the lesson and mine. Here is a warming up. So a person can have the greatest idea in the world, but if that person can't convince enough other people, it doesn't matter what kinds of person he is, how much greater he is. It's not a matter. So here, just I am revising the lesson that I have discussed in the classes. Luigi Dirgha Bhattarai, here is a brief discussion, brief gentle note about Dirgha Bhattarai. Dirgha Bhattarai is one of the person who had started his dynasty in 1903 in the history of Nepal. So Dirgha Bhattarai established the powerful Rana dynasty in the hereditary prime minister in office that remained in his family until 1951. Dirgha Bhattarai remained of the great courage and ability, gained control over the government after killing Gagan Singh, who in 1846 had plotted with the junior queen to become prime minister and place her son to the throne. This is background. So now here is a short introduction about the revolution of 2007 BS and its Delhi Agreement. So in 1903, Rana rule was started in Nepal as autocratic rulers of Nepal history. At first, Rana ruled was started in Nepal in 1903. It means from this time to the last time, in that time, their ruling system was based on the autocratic system. Altogether, 9 prime ministers ruled over Nepal around 104 years. Then after, as their autocratic manner, discipline, behavior, Nepali Congress started the mass revolution 2007 with the support of political parties and the King Tribhuvan Saha and the other common citizens supported to Nepali Congress to fight against the Rana regime. Then the legacy of Ranarchy collapsed by the time of Mohan Samsid. That's why in the history of Nepal we can say that Mohan Samsid is the last prime minister of Rana dynasty or Rana regime. Now here is the causes of revolution of 2007 BS or why the revolution took place. What were the reasons? Number one is there is a injustice and suppressive rule of Ranas. Injustice rules and the suppressive rules were what is designed and formulated by the Rana. Second one is the poverty and unemployment. So it means injustice and suppressive rules of Ranas refers to common people were deprived by their basic rights, but Ranas families were enjoying with unlimited power and authority. Next thing is common people were not getting justice and exploited them by the Ranas. Those common people were exploited in terms of labor, in terms of their hard working, in terms of their right, duties, manners, service, many more things they were exploited. Next one is the poverty and unemployment. So here, at that time, the poverty point was under below. Most of the people were engaged in what is agriculture, which was not sufficient for the people. If sufficient, there were no many factories and industries. So the industries and the factories were not enough to provide the employment opportunities to people. And next thing, educational institutions were not enough to provide the technical as well as the vocational education to the children for the people. And now, third one is there is a World War II and worldwide wave of the democracy. During this time, there was the what is period of World War II, and then most of the countries were paving the ways for the democracy. So in this time, democracy and independence movement spread all over the world after the Second World War. People became aware. Most of the people, citizens of the particular nation, wanted to wanted to make them freedom, justice, equality. That's why democracy and independence nation only create the what is democracy, independence of the people. That's why it has happened in the world. Like India got the independence in sorry 1947 AD. Uh, the Nepalese soldiers who returned from the World War II joined the Liberation Army of Nepali Congress. So those people who were directly or indirectly joined, connected in the Second World War, at that time, most of the Nepali soldiers were there and they returned back to their homeland. And again, here in the nation, Nepali Congress has started one of the revolution, which is known as the Liberation Army of Nepali Congress. In that, what is revolution? In that, what is campaign? Most of the soldiers were connected. The next thing is even Nepalese students who were in India for their higher study and participate in Indian War of Independence also returned to Nepal to fight against the Tanarism. They also did the fight to secure, to declare the nation as independent nation in India during the time of 1947. And again, in the meantime, they returned back to Nepal and here fight against the regime. The next thing is the establishment of political parties in the moment. Many political parties started to establish over there in the nation. So Prachanda Gorkha was the first organization to fight against the Rana rule, but couldn't run its activities effectively, which is not achieved its goal, which hasn't achieved. And next thing is the first political parties of Nepal is Nepal Praja Parishad, was established by the chairmanship of Tanka Prasad Acharya, who was the chairman of these political parties. Vice chairman was Datta Satsan, general secretary was Ram Hari Sharma, founder members were the Rama Bhakta Mathema and the Jivraj Sharma, which was established at Ambahal, Kathmandu on 20th August 1993, which is known as the first political party of Nepal. And then 1997, Magh, four brave democratic soldiers got martyrdom, which is very much which is very much merciful condition. Still to date, we are remember the what is contribution and determination of four martyrs. Especially those people were also brave Dharmabhakta Mathema, Gangalal sister, Sukra Sastri, and Dasatan. Next causes was increase in political consciousness in people. People were conscious. And next one is the internal clash among the Ranas. And common people also join in the different political parties and the movements. And then after in India and other countries had awareness in what is democracy. Education was also increasing gradually. Internal clash among Ranans. There were no unity among the Ranans. Chandra Samse divided the Ranas into three classes: A class, B class, and C class. So again, their C class Ranas were not included in the role of the succession, so that they also joined in anti-Ranas movement. Now, major events of moments. Bairangania conference was held by Nepali Congress, and conference against the Rana regime by Nepali Congress. 11th and 12th Ascent 7 BS, which is one of the events in this time. Same time, King Tribhuvan laid the palace and went to the Indian embassy. Then 23rd Kartik, King went to the India by the India Air Force helicopter. Gyanendra was declared when King went to what is India by the Indian Air Force helicopter. The Prime Minister Mohan Shamsher gave the throne to the Gyanendra Saha. He became the King of Nepal. Liberation Army captured the Biratnagar. Uh, Dr. K.I. Singh was leading the western part of Nepal, and B.P. Koyala and Suvarna Shamsher were leading in the western parts of Nepal. Everywhere people started to oppose the Ranas day by day, and Nepal got democracy in 2007 BS. Now, what does Delhi Agreement mean, or what do you mean by Delhi Agreement 2007 BS? Mohan Shamsher couldn't handle the country and requested the Indian government to arbitrate for a solution. King Tribhuvan, Ranas, and Nepali Congress started to negotiate in Delhi, which is known as the Three Parties Agreement, that is the Delhi Agreement. The Three Parties Agreement was signed between Ranas, King, Nepali Congress in Delhi on the 1st Phagun 2007 BS or 12th February 1951 AD, which is known as what is Delhi Agreement. The King Tribhuvan then returned back to Nepal on 4th Phagun and made the declaration of the establishment of democracy and in the Rana's rule in Nepal on 7th Phagun 2007 BS. Elected Constituent Assembly will be framed. Here now, main points of the Delhi Agreement. An elected Constituent Assembly will frame a democratic constitution within 2 years. Next thing is King Tribhuvan will remain the king of Nepal. That was the provisions which was signed in the Delhi Agreement. There will remain an interim cabinet government of 10 ministers under the Prime Minister of the Mohan Shamsher, which 5 will be taken from the Nepali Congress. There will be no restriction to open political organization. All the political prisoners will be set free, and agitators have to hand over all the weapons to government and stop the move. Now, what are the consequences of the revolution? Foundation of democracy. One result of the revolution 2007 was there is a establishment of democracy. There is a basic way for the democracy, which is known as the foundation of democracy. Increase the public awareness to the people. Then beginning of the constitutional process. It means the first constitution of Nepal was 2004, which is not implemented effectively. Now the 2007 BS can be one of the uh, year of constitutions. Now, Nepal's exposure in the international areas, Nepal can what is expand its diplomatic relation with the international areas. Nepal can get the comprehensive what is exposure by the other countries in the world. There will be the people's participation. If democracy is there, automatically there is the people equality, freedom, rights, justice, and authorities duties can be enhanced, can be what is granted. Now, these are the main achievements. Now, who were in the cabinet in after the establishment of democracy in Nepal? Prime Minister and Foreign Minister was Mohan Samsir. From the Rana side, Defense Minister is Babar Samsir. Forest Minister is the what Sudaraj Samsir. Education Minister Nirpajang Rana. Health and Local Minister was Basnet. And now from Nepali Congress side, Home Minister BP Kerala, Finance Minister Subhana Samsit, Industry and Commerce Minister Ganesh Singh, Transport Minister uh, Bhadrakali Mishra, Food and Agriculture Minister Bhartamani Sharma. These people were in the cabinet. So, but there was what is criticism, there was what is rejection, there was not too much agreement to all the people. Dr. K.I. Singh didn't agree with the what is agreement of Nepali Congress in Tribhuvan and Ranat. He denied to hand over this. What kinds of weapon he had? He denied to hand over these weapons to the government because he wanted to continue the revolution. He didn't want any presence of Ranat in the government after the induction of introducing of democracy. That's why he was what is uh, democracy was criticized, or such kinds of revolution were criticized by Dr. K. Singh. If thank you very much. If any questions you can ask. Otherwise, thank you. Have a good day. Namaste. If any comments, please heartily welcome your comments and other things. Thank you.